It must be so, Commissioner. General Sibiya witnessed the most dangerous grilling experience just now at the Madlanga Commission. He was confused, caught stuttering, and words stuck in his mouth. The pressure was too much, and he was literally seen shaking. He had no other option than to succumb, and eventually spilled the entire truth about the PKTT disbandment that nobody knew about. Watch till the end and see what happened yourself. If you think Sibiya is a criminal and deserves to be jailed, then hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe for more updates.
Greatly made you say correct all the way down. You have already said that it is correct that during the time of storage, detectives would not have access to the dockets.
It is correct.
Is that correct? Now, if that be so, that must result in disruption, however long or short. It must result in disruption of the investigative process, not so?
It is correct, Chair. It is so. Unfortunately, yes. It is part of the process.
It must be so. Now, did you at the time of putting together your implementation plan know how long it would take between the time of the storage and the time of the return of the dockets? Did you have any idea at that stage?
We had an idea, and the idea was that it must move from this signature to this signature and be redistributed immediately, not for the docket to be stored.
But did you have any idea how long the process would take? Bear in mind, we are talking 121 dockets. Did you have any idea how long the process would take? At the time?
The process could take 3 days to a week, Chair, because this is what we do every day, inspection of dockets.
Did you have any idea how long the process?
When you give me now 120 dockets to inspect, I can inspect the 120 dockets in 3 days or in 2 days. That is doable. And then for the dockets then to be sent back to KZN or as it was intended to be.
General, you say you do inspections of dockets every day. You have never called for 181 dockets at the same time for inspections, have you? Remember a few answers back, you said that I can call for a docket to inspect it. You have, I would imagine you have never called for 121 dockets for inspection, all at the same time, have you?
I want to respond to the chair. Let's take it that, Chair, when I say I mean my team. Now, they have inspected more than, remember, Chair, there's a person who will have 200 dockets or 300 dockets to inspect. So we have called more than 121 dockets before to inspect. When we go out there inspecting docket, there are people who's got 600 dockets on hand, 500 dockets on hand. And as we normally send team out to go and inspect, these are the dockets they're inspecting on a daily basis. So it does not necessarily mean that when I inspect 400 dockets, it means that I say I will complete the whole 400 today. But as I'm here, because we send them for them to be there, and they will be there for 3 weeks sometimes, inspecting dockets per province.
But the crucial thing, though, is your admission that during the time of storage, investigations would be disrupted. You've accepted that.
I do.
Thank you. That's all that I wanted to establish. I'm going to move to a second point, which...
2 questions. General, I'm worried that you have contradicted yourself or I misunderstood you. Remember on the first day when you came here, I asked you a question. Was your instruction to General Khumalo that the PKTT dockets must be transferred to the And that was your answer was yes. Do you remember that?
I do.
Yes. So there was no instruction that General Sinthumule must go to KZN and simply inspect dockets. Do you accept that?
I do.
The instruction was that they must be taken away from PKTT and be given to detective and forensic services, correct?
That is correct.
Yes. So when you now say to the chair, all that needed to happen was that they needed to go to KZN and simply inspect the dockets and not bring them to Pretoria. That was not the instruction that you gave. Unless you can show us in the documents that are in our possession where your instruction was clear that the dockets are not to leave KZN. Are you able to show us a document that you have penned or written that says the dockets are not to leave KZN?
Just to quickly answer on saying, no, there is no such an instruction where it says the dockets are not to leave KZN.
Now pause there. Where is General Sinthumule based? Where is her office?
She's based at head office.
In?
Head office.
In
Pretoria.
In Pretoria. So if dockets are to be transferred to her, where would they naturally go?
The same applies to General Khumalo. Is at head
I'm
office.
not asking about General Khumalo. I'm saying if PKTT dockets are to be transferred to General Sinthumule, who is based in Pretoria, where would they naturally go?
Where they will naturally go is to go to the Deputy Provincial Commissioner, Crime Detection in KZN.
But General Sinthumule is not in KZN. You have just said yourself that dockets were to be transferred to General Sinthumule. That was your instruction.
You see, in all fairness, Chair, in all fairness, what under normal circumstances should have happened was for General Sinthumule and General Khumalo to fly down to KZN, do the handing over among themselves, and for General Sinthumule to hand over the dockets to the provincial commissioner or to the deputy provincial commissioner responsible for crime detection, under whose command murder and robbery unit falls. She didn't. And she's not the one basically who also brought the dockets to head office. They were brought by crime intelligence, by General Khumalo himself to head office.
No, General. General Sinthumule and Brigadier Khopoditata went to KZN. We've had that evidence already. My simple question is this. Is there an instruction by you that General Sinthumule must hand those dockets to the provincial detective services?
May I correct the commissioner? The files were brought by a Colonel Khumalo from KZN to General Khumalo, the project coordinator at head office. This was not supposed to be the case. So General Sinthumule never went to KZN.
So now you're saying it was the National Commissioner who gave the instruction to push this process? Because earlier when I asked you about these letters, you said, no, this was your responsibility. You took initiative on this.
But the letter or the email that was written to me on the 3rd of January was directing me to get involved, communicate the minister's directive to the relevant team, and then the subsequent meetings that happened, that took place. Those subsequent meetings were in relation to the disbandment itself and making sure that the minister's instruction is adhered to. And that was what was happening. Now, everything was happening in the normal course of duty, in the same spirit of we are complying with the instructions. So I was, even if I was acting myself, whatever letter that I wrote, it was still within the instruction that I received to say this is where we are going.
Would you agree then I mean, I think what you're saying is, no, you did not give this instruction that it should be transferred to the head office. And what did you do then when it was transferred to the head office?
General Sinthumule informed me that General Kumalo came, brought the docket, and then she put the team together to do a handing over. And then that's when I started saying, hey, let now this docket. This when I wrote this letter that says now, because I didn't want it to waste time. I said, let it go, let this process be finalized within 7 days. Because I was trying to shorten even the date, the time in between, to say this docket must now reach where they must be investigated within a very short space of time. Now you can see that time for me, time was of essence, and so that we do this process and finalize it without any delay, further disrupting the further investigation of the docket.
That's not quite what is said in your letter of 22 April, because it says you're calling for the transfer of all dockets, again, closed, currently under investigation and in court, to General Sinthumule. That's what you're calling for?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yes. So the point is, if the dockets are with General Sinthumule and all of the evidence with General Sinthumule, they're not being investigated. They're in a repository.
That is not correct.
And that's in fact what happened.
No, it's not what was supposed to happen. We are doing this ignoring or leaving out the fact that what caused to this docket being kept at head office for a particular period of time. Had it not been the fact that General Mkhwanazi rejected the docket, we wouldn't be sitting here.
Which, can you just be specific? When he rejected the dockets, when?
When immediately after these dockets, there was a handing over. And they then called him and said, we are bringing the dockets, and he rejected them. That is the beginning of the problem.
You mean after they were taken to the head office?
Yes.
Okay, and we will come there. For now, what I'm trying to establish with you is that your instructions are repeatedly deliver all of the evidence in these cases under the control of the PKTT, deliver it to General Sinthumule.
To paragraph 84. There you refer to the implementation plan and you say it provided as follows, and you list a lot of things there. Which one are you referring to? SS-13 or the one that you say was prepared by General Kumalo?
Paragraph 84.
At paragraph 81 as well, you say, consequently, I changed the name on the implementation plan to my own, and on 17 January 2025, I signed the implementation plan. So you refer to that at 81, you refer to that at 84, possibly you refer to it elsewhere as well.
I refer to this one that has got my initials on the body of the. This is the one on 80. Is SS-13.
That's SS-13.
13.
So anywhere where you refer to the implementation plan in your statement, you are referring to SS-13.
That is correct, Chair.
All right. All right. So before you step off the letter then, if it is the implementation plan, I would like to deal with some aspect of that implementation plan.
Absolutely, Chair.
Yes. Now, General, do you accept that a repository is a place of storage?
That is correct, Chair.
You say that in accordance with the implementation plan, I may just as well call it the disbandment plan, the dockets were to be stored in a repository that was to be established by General Sinthumule. Correct?
That is correct, Chair.
Yes. And yesterday you said the plan allowed General Sinthumule to establish this repository anywhere in the country, meaning it could be at head office or anywhere else in the country, correct?
That is correct, Chair.
It is only logical then that for as long as the dockets were stored in the repository, detectives could not access them as and when they wanted to, correct?
May I understand the question again, Chair?
It is only logical that for as long as dockets were in the repository, detectives could not access them as and when they wanted to. Is that correct?
It is correct, Chair.
Yes. That must mean during the period of storage, however short or long, investigations would be halted, correct?
It is correct, Chair.
In paragraph 84.2 of your statement, you say that the disbandment plan outlined measures to ensure that investigations would not be disrupted, correct?
Correct, Chair.
Do you accept that this was meaningless because storage of the dockets automatically meant that investigations had to come to a halt? Put differently, disruption of investigations was inevitable. Do you accept that?
No, Chair.
Yes, please explain.
Chair, considering the fact that this docket were not meant to be withdrawn and be stored, and nothing should happen any further. It was meant for a handing over, and when the handing over is happening, those dockets that are in the process of being handed over are kept in a safe space where no one can say, I don't know what happened to that docket or that docket. Now, as General Sinthumule said, they were meant to be in transit back to KZ, and without any waste of time, they were meant to go back. Now, I'm giving this example in a sense that when we conduct an inspection, we are able to call for a docket. We're doing docket inspection for that week. The officials from head office are at the particular province. They are doing docket inspection. In other words, when they do docket inspection, is when they come and the docket are being put in front of them and they go through the dockets. At that point in time, the investigation is halted, and because dockets are being inspected or audited. The idea here was just to make sure that nothing falls in between the cracks, and it doesn't happen that we don't know where's the other docket, but also to proper account of the docket in such a way that when you receive a docket, you go through the docket, you make sure that as you inspect what you are being given and you read the investigation diary, you can account for each and every statement that is, according to the diary, should be in the docket, in such a way that you don't find yourself now being given a docket that you think this docket was actually fully investigated. In the meantime, some statements are missing, and this is what was found to be the case. So that is why you have to, I had to say, just make sure that whilst these dockets are in your hands, they are safely stored where they need to be safe.
General, you've already accepted and